Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist. Welcome back to the Mad Science Lab podcast. Why you gotta give me a heart attack like that in the private chat?
Dude, it said it in the corner again. I was like, I gotta let him know.
I looked through it. I double checked before I hit stream. I looked and I said, Kate says scheduled for noon. We're 4 or 5 minutes late, so I think we're good. Okay. Yesterday, in case you missed it, during our NFC preview, I hit stream and we recorded, or we talked about 6 minutes about the Bears and Commanders game that never aired because we weren't recording. So hopefully we are recording this time. It looks like we're good to go. Welcome. I'm Aaron. That's Jesse. Today we're here with the NFL Week 5 game previews. We have the AFC home games this time with the Monday night game. I can't remember for the life of me what the Monday night game is this week. Any thoughts, Jesse?
It is Green Bay and Vegas. So, yeah, quite the barn burner in that one. It's a good week overall. I'm pretty excited. We saw how last night went, where it was just Justin Fields and DJ Moore going to the moon. So if that's the start of the week, we go from there.
Do you think they put these crappy matchups on primetime because they know nobody else is going to watch them in a regular slate? So it's like, fuck it, let's just force people to watch this shit.
Right? Or they'll put a team like the Giants who were good in the playoffs last year, and they'll put them on 5 games. So now you just get 5 dog shit matchups. Yeah,
those ones I understand where it's like 2 teams that were, it's Giants and Vikings, and everyone's like, oh, those are 2 good playoff teams. That'll be a good week 10 matchup. And week 10 gets here and they're 3-7. It's like, well, it turns out these 2 teams suck. I get that they can't predict that, but did anyone at the beginning of the season think week 5 matchup between Bears and Commanders was going to be great?
No, they gotta shoehorn some of those matchups in too. They got to give. I think, don't they have to give everybody an island game? Every team has
I don't think so. Oh, maybe because the Lions only had Thanksgiving for the longest time, but
yeah, I think I don't know. It might be a baseball thing, but I think that's something.
Yeah, I don't know how some of the rules work, so I guess we can get into it here. Whoops, that's the wrong one.
Ooh,
there we go. It's like, what? That's not what I went to do. Alrighty, let's make that a little bigger.
I was gonna say that's real small. I will do the best to read that, but that is tiny.
We were too busy talking pre-show, and I forgot to increase the graphics here. So we will start with Titans at Colts. Colts by 1.5. I guess we will start here with the quarterbacks, Ryan Tannehill and Anthony Richardson. I am going to let you take over this section and discuss what you think of the 2 quarterbacks because I need to edit some of these graphics to make them bigger. So then we click onto another game. I don't have to slow us down. So
it's not so bad. So, yeah, I don't know why you would be playing Tannehill. You got to be straight up desperate. That offense has
4 QB league.
Yeah, basically. It's still even in 4 QB. It's I don't know. Give me Zach Wilson over him.
I don't think I've seen that. That's not. I took Zach Wilson over Joe Burrow in a league. So don't you besmirch Zach Wilson this week. But I haven't seen any of these crazy leagues in NFL. But I have a league that SC runs. That's college football, where there are 3 starting quarterbacks and 3 super flexes. So I can start 6 quarterbacks. My roster, I think it's 40 roster slots, and I roster 9 quarterbacks. So
yeah,
sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, you're good. Just put all the quarterbacks. But you're starting Anthony Richardson every week from here until eternity, until we see otherwise. He's been incredible. In his 2 games, he's basically the QB2 and the QB4 that he's played. So I don't know what else why you would bench him in any situation, unless you have him Mahomes or Hurts, which I have one of those teams. Is super frustrating because I have to decide between those 2 each week. But that's my own stupid fault for drafting them, right? But yeah, you're starting Richardson, Tannehill. It's a dart throw. You're praying. The defensive matchup is okay, I guess, but I would not want to start Tannehill in those matchups. So I'm starting Richardson and benching Tannehill.
Sorry, for matchups, it's the 5th best for Tannehill, but he still sucks. And it's a middle of the pack for Richardson. I have them ranked Richardson 6th, Tannehill 23rd. It's funny though, back to that my college league there with SC. It's funny because it's bye weeks for a lot of them. My first 2 QBs are Quinn Ewers, Michael Penix, and then I get down to QB9 and it's it doesn't even have a picture. It's QB1 at San Diego Northwest Southeast State or whatever the fuck
Yeah,
it is. I'm like, I don't know who this is, but he's projected for 20 points, so I'm starting him. So,
that's exactly what it is with those college leagues, right?
I got me sidetracked here, but like I said, Tannehill's a good matchup, but you ain't starting him anyways. He is somehow, even with bye weeks, he's QB 23, so he is probably borderline startable in a super flex league, but aside from a super flex league, like even in a super flex league, he's not even a must start this week. He's still a maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's hanging out with Doug or Bryce Young, like Kenny Pickett, those guys. Where
I've got him with actually it's Dobbs, Dak, Wilson, Jimmy, Tannehill, Mac, Bryce Young, Derek Carr. So that's an ugly group.
It really is.
Good guy.
Oh yeah, that's fun. That is just going to be a lot of fun. But I mean,
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say that. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, wrap it up. Like you said, if you have one more to add, I was going to move on. So if you have more for quarterback, go for it.
No, just go.
All righty. Okay, we'll move on then. Derrick Henry, I have the 12th best matchup here. Jonathan Taylor, it's the 5th worst matchup. I'm not starting Taylor regardless. I think he was my sit of the week on Fantasy Pros. I get it, he's Jonathan Taylor, and if you've got him, you might have to start him. God only knows how many teams I have that started Taylor and Cup, and I need them, but this is not a good one. This is a bad matchup. They said he'll be eased in. I don't know if he's a decoy. I don't know how much he's playing. I don't even know if he is playing. So I am sitting Taylor anywhere I can. Derrick Henry's a top 12 matchup. Like I said, I have him. I have to look here, but I imagine he's probably a borderline low. Oh, he's RB7 for me. So RB7 for Henry. I have Jonathan. Actually, I have Zach Moss at 33. And I don't know where Taylor is. I think I might have Taylor not ranked yet because I don't officially have him listed as playing. So, oh no, I do. I have him as 44. So I am, like I said, I'm sitting Taylor because bad matchup. Don't know what the role is. First game with a new quarterback. I want no part of this. What do you think?
Yeah, so it depends where you're kind of at with your roster. If you're getting down to like the burritos of the world, like the Najee Harris, the P. Ryan, these guys that are in like part-time roles and positions, like I'm just gonna roll with Taylor at that point because he's too talented. And
I have Burrito one ahead of him.
Yeah, so that's kind of like where when I get down to that where it's like a seriously deficient in talent, I'm just gonna bet on the best player, even though the situation seems like suck. The Colts running backs have been smashing. They've averaged like 18.4 expected fantasy points per game in each of their matchups. So realistically, the role has been elite for those guys. So I don't actually mind rolling with Taylor. I am a little bit lower. I think if he is gonna go, he's gonna be like my running back 26 or whatever like it is. And yeah, with Henry, like if they get the lead, they're gonna smash and he's gonna be great. So like he's top 8 running back this week for me, and I love the matchup. It's just if they get behind, Spears is going to be involved, so it's kind of similar to last night's game. Like if the game script does not work out and they get behind early, which they could because Richardson's a good quarterback, then you get Spears involved, and then it kind of just brings the floor lower with Henry. So he does worry me a bit as one of those elite options.
My God, I've got my phone on silent and it keeps going off. People in leagues causing drama. Why do people cause drama? I have a pirate league. And we have a guy who's facing someone. So last night he started, it's super flex. He had Sam Howell, Justin Fields, DJ Moore.
Yeah.
So he's projected to win by like 200. But so having seen that he's going to lose, his opponent then subbed in the rest of his lineup for garbage players.
Oh, okay.
Because, it's a pirate league, so you can steal. Mm-hmm. So now the guy's mad. Oh, I'm going to win and I'm going to have to. Well, too bad. That's strategy, man. I'm not going to lie. Right? If I'm down 200, I'm subbing in my bench players too. I'm not letting you take my starting quarterback. Fuck that.
Yeah, like those leagues are interesting because I've seen leagues where they set it up like, hey, if you set it up by Thursday and the Thursday night game goes, like they make it a little different. But yeah, like if that's the rule, that's the rule. Like what can you do?
Now our rules are you can't add some random scrub. Like you can't just go and add a bunch of random, injured players and put them in your lineup. If it was somebody already on your roster, you can sub them in. If they were good enough for you to roster, they're good enough for you to put in. So unfortunate situation, but too bad. You're up by 200. Deal with it.
Yeah. My dog came into the room and she just like rolled and poop all over her neck. So I was like, oh, fun. This is going to be fun. It's just, I guess it's my theme of life. I just keep poop keeps finding its way into our shows.
Yeah, you're really shitty on this show sometimes.
Okay, that's right.
All righty. Moving on to the receivers. They both have good matchups. The 7th and 8th best matchups. Pittman's must start. D-Hop kind of scares the living crap out of me. He hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been great. He's like a 10 to 12 PPR points per game. Actually, it's half PPR, my one league that I use for reference. So Pittman must start. I think I probably have him. He's 11 for me. Then I have D-Hop at 28. Is Burks still out?
I think he is. Last I heard, he's dealing with that injury.
I have Westbrook Akine as the next one. So Hopkins is a wide receiver 3 or a flex, and Pittman's a top 12 must start.
Yeah, I have Hopkins a little bit higher. He's like top 20, pushing into the top 18. But yeah, like I'm a little worried just because the offense has been so dysfunctional for the wide receivers, how that's been for Hopkins. So I was going into the season really excited for Hopkins, and it has not panned out at all. So we'll see if that shifts. He's had been kind of boom bust. He had the one good game, and then it's been kind of down. But yeah, Pittman's been a stud. So like if you have Pittman, he's a wide receiver 1. You're just locking him in and rolling with him.
Tight ends, not much.
Yeah.
Sorry, not
I was
much
gonna say like
tight end, yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to talk about Downs and how he's been a lot better than Pierce. If you want to take a flyer on Downs in this matchup, you could do that, but like I don't know where he's at. He's like my wide receiver 45, so he's like a wide receiver 3-4. So
he's a good stash for me right now.
Yeah.
I'm just stashing. Yep. Tight ends, not much to see. Bad matchup for the Colts, and there's like 4 of them being used, so I wouldn't play any of them. Chig on the other side, it's a middle of the pack matchup. He's not a terrible start here. I bet if I look at him, he's probably about tight end 15 for me. He's lower than that. He's 21, so it's not a great matchup. He's not someone I'd absolutely avoid, but he's probably not your best tight end if you're on have a halfway decent contending team. Kickers, 11th best matchup for Folk, 12th best matchup for Gay. Neither of them are must starts, but they're both startable as low end kicker 1. Titans, it is a pretty, below average to bad matchup, so I don't really want the Titans DST unless I have to. Colts, it's middle of the pack. You could probably play them. I'm going to look. I feel like they're probably a borderline DST1, somewhere in the 10 to 15 range. They're 16 for me. So probably I would say don't need to really start either DST. You can start both kicker, and I would say you don't need to worry about any of the tight ends whatsoever. Thoughts?
Yeah, the Titans defense worries me a lot more just because they're going against Richardson in that offense and how good Richardson's been. So if I'm going to go with one, I'm picking the Colts defense just because they're playing the Titans. But realistically, yeah, I'm not excited about either defense.
Let's transition to a defense that I will be playing this week, the Dolphins DST. And I did it again. I keep clicking on the wrong graphic to support me in the back. But that was kind of a weird sentence. Anyways, we will move on. We've got the Giants at the Dolphins. The Dolphins by 9.5. Good Lord. So the QB matchup here is interesting. Look at the point differential between Tua and Daniel Jones. Bet you didn't see that coming at the beginning of the year. So we have Tua. Someone clickbaited me today, and I was like, oh, that's terrible for fantasy. Someone sent me the thing saying Chase, because I had just posted that Chase had, it looked like rumors were Jamar Chase requested a trade. Mm-hmm. And then someone posted an article clipping that Chase had just been traded to the Dolphins. And I'm like, that's great for Tua, but it's fucking terrible for the receivers. And then I looked at it, it's Chase Claypool. So as far as quarterbacks.
Like, oh, that guy.
Yeah. He still plays. So as far as quarterbacks go, it's not a great matchup for Tua. It doesn't matter. I am starting him. Daniel Jones, it is the 3rd best matchup. I think if you need to, you can stream Daniel Jones. My rankings here, I've got Tua at 5 and Danny Dimes at 15. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing with Dimes is depending on the matchup, and we saw how last night went for him, or not last night, on Monday Night Football, it was a shit show. So he really needs the line to get better because he's not the type of quarterback that's going to raise the play of like the line in the offense. So without him, if Barkley plays or if he doesn't play, like that's a big part of it too. Because they just don't have anything on offense. So like I just don't trust him, and I do not want to play Daniel Jones. Like I would if I'm forced to, but Tua's basically a must start. Like that offense is incredible. I don't see a situation where I'm benching Tua anytime soon. So yeah, he's a QB1 and like a high end one for me.
Absolutely. For the running backs on the Dolphins, it's middle of the pack matchup. So A-Chain's a solid start. I guess Mostert's the one I don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look at my rankings. He's probably a low end 3, maybe a flex. Barkley, it's a top 8 matchup. You're firing up Barkley. He's probably top 5 in my rankings. Oh, he's not. Oh, I think I'm a little more hesitant because this offense looks like shit, and because it's going to be a bad game script. So I have him at 11 for Barkley. I have A-Chain at 9 and Mostert at 19. So I have all of them at 2 of them as a RB1 and 1 as a low end RB2. What are your thoughts on these guys?
So if Barkley plays, which I think he's going to play, I'm just playing him. He's too good, and that offense entirely revolves around him. So he's going to play, and I'm not really going to bench him anytime soon. The interesting thing with Miami is the fumbles killed Mostert last week, so they just banked on A-Chain, and they just went with him. So I'm expecting it to kind of be a closer split this week. We'll see if that happens or not. But like you could start both of them. Dolphins running backs and be comfortably happy with it. A-Chain's a lower end RB1, like Mostert's like a lower end RB2. We'll see how it shakes out, but I have confidence in both those guys.
Wide receivers, it's the 9th best matchup for the Giants. That is a mess. I don't know which one. I'm going to have to scroll through my rankings here because there's like 900 Giants receivers that I rank, and none of them are particularly good. I'm down to 42. I'm down to 51 is my first Giants receiver, and it's Wan'Dale Robinson, unless I miss someone. I do not have a Giants receiver in the top 50 this week, even in a good matchup. I've got Slayton at 58. I've got Hodgins at 72, Paris Campbell at 73, Jalen Hyatt at 74. So, yeah, I'm not real high on them. Conversely, on the other side here, we've got the 5th worst matchup for Tyreek Hill. Doesn't matter. Tyreek Hill is my wide receiver 1 this week, with Jalen Waddle coming in as wide receiver 9. They're obviously both must starts. The one I'm scrolling down for that I wonder if I have him in flex consideration. It looks like I don't. I'm looking for Berrios. I had Braxton Berrios in the 60s, so I guess my projections don't really have him maintaining, but he's actually been surprisingly good. So what do you think about the receivers here?
Yeah, like you said, those two are must start for the Dolphins. Like, I don't know why you would bench them. On the flip side, I don't want to start a single Giants wide receiver. Like, I would need to be in a very deeply even consider it. The only two I'm really interested. Yeah, like I'll consider maybe stashing Wan'Dale, Jalen Hyatt for like long term this season if they start building on that. But you can't start anyone on that offense there, so it's just avoid. And yeah, Berrios is like I think he's wide receiver 60 for me. I'm not sure. But, like, he's a guy you can take a flyer on if you want to, just because the offense is so good, and it could be his week for that offense.
Tight ends, Darren Waller, it's a top 9 matchup for. It's the 22nd best matchup for Durham Smythe. My rankings are going to say Darren Waller at 7, and it's going to say Durham Smythe down at 25. Honestly, at this point, I'm not sure who I'd rather start. I'm going to start Waller because, the math and the odds and everything tell you Waller, but Durham Smythe has been better, so I don't know. You got to start Waller if you have him. Smythe, you probably don't want to start, but I don't particularly like either. Kicker, Graham Gano, it's the 9th best matchup. You can fire him up confidently. Jason Sanders, it's a bad matchup, but he's good, so you'll probably want to start him anyways if you have him because you don't want to drop him. DST, it is a top 5 matchup for the Dolphins. They are my defense 1 of the week. If they aren't in my rankings, they will be by the time I submit them Sunday. I would like to see them put up another 11 sacks here and just absolutely destroy them. This could be a league-winning week, I think, for the Dolphins. The Giants are the 5th worst matchup, and there's no chance I'm starting them if my life depended on it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so get back to the tight ends real quick. Darren Waller just falls in that category of tight ends suck in general, and he's supposedly the best of those guys. Like when you get to tight end 7, after that, you're like, dude, I don't want any of these guys, right? And he's been good in the past, so we'll bank on him. But I particularly traded for Laporta in a league I had Waller because I was just like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, you can start him, but just be prepared of a super low floor of nothing. And yeah, like the Miami defense, like hello, 30 points incoming. It's a smash matchup.
I just went to load this game up and I had flashbacks of listening to Fantasy Football Today earlier. And I kind of wish I had the drop on me because this was their game of the week. And do you ever listen to that podcast?
Hmm?
I had flashbacks of doing the game of the week song to you, letting you. I love that little shtick they have going on where Adam loads the game up. He lets Dave get into it, and then he interrupts with the game of the week song. So I was like, I want to interrupt Jesse with the game of the week song here, but I don't have it, and I'm like, kind of ripping it off of them, but. Still. All right, so we got Jags and Bills. Bills by 5.5 in this one. We will start with the quarterback position. Josh Allen, obvious must start every week. It is where the hell is my chart? Top 12 matchup. 11th best matchup for Josh Allen. He's a must start. Trevor Lawrence is not on my. Oh yeah, he is. There he is, way down there. I wasn't even looking that far. It's the worst matchup for opposing for a fantasy quarterback. So Lawrence is a scary start to me. Josh Allen is a must start. I have Allen at QB2 this week. I still have Lawrence as a top 10 option in my rankings. That's terrifying. What do you and your daughter think of this? The QB.
Yeah, she's trying to go to the bathroom, so it's interesting. But yeah, it's Trevor Lawrence has been really good, just been really unfortunate through the year. So at some point he's going to regress and be play at the level he's playing at. I don't know if this is a matchup for it, like you're saying, because the Bills' defense is just so good. But Allen, you locked in starting him. I still have Lawrence as a top 10 quarterback this week, but just a little bit lower because the Bills' defense is legit. Like we saw it in Miami.
I have him at 9, and it's not that I like him 9th best. I just don't know how many quarterbacks I'd actually start over him is the problem, where it's okay, 9's fine. We're good with 9.
Yeah, I would normally be Burrow, but Burrow's struggling so much, I can't put Burrow up.
I'm setting Zach Wilson over Burrow this week, so it's not Burrow for me. It's not Burrow for me. For the Bills running backs, it's the 9th worst matchup. It's not great. I'm still starting James Cook. He's going to be the first ever RB1 in the history of the NFL to do so without scoring a touchdown. Where are we on the other side here? I can't find there. Oh, sorry. Middle of the pack matchup for Travis Etienne. He's been disappointing, but not disappointing. These two are really weird because I feel like both Cook and Etienne have done absolutely nothing, but they haven't been absolutely terrible. So I have Etienne at 10. I have Cook at 14. I think both are on the 1-2 borderline right there, like it says. What do you think?
Yeah, they're both been really good running backs this year. Cook's finally he's getting some goal line work, so hallelujah, that's finally happening. And Etienne, he's had some good games, had some not so great games, but they're just two of the better runners in the NFL right now, with their efficiency stats. So, you're gonna target these guys in this matchup because they're the best running backs and two of the better offenses. That's kind of what you want. So they're both low end RB1s for me in this matchup. I have them on a lot of rosters, and I'm deciding which one to play over the other one. But they're back to back for me.
All right, wide receiver. We've got the 20th best matchup, so probably mid to low end for the receivers of the Bills. It's a bad matchup, bottom 8 for the Jags. Stephon Diggs is an obvious must start. He's my wide receiver 3 on the week. Gabe Davis is a little scarier. He's 24 for me, so he's still probably someone I'm starting. The other side of the ball, excuse me. I think I'm higher on Christian Kirk at this point. I have Ridley. I have Ridley. I think they're back to back. Yeah. 15 and 16 for me with Ridley 1 higher. I think I'm going to change that because I like Kirk better this week. Mm-hmm. Zay Jones, I have him ranked way lower, but I don't even know if I don't even have him ranked because I'm not sure if he'll play. But so I think the moral of the story here is Diggs is a must start. Yeah. Gabe Davis is a low end 2. Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, mid-range 2s, something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly how I still have Ridley above Kirk, but that gap is narrowing each week. So they're
just flip back and forth like the Texans receivers.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. So who knows what's happening this week? So watch Ridley.
Who was good last week? They'll suck this week. That's exactly what it is. It was a Ridley. Or no, it was a Kirk week last week, so it'll be a Ridley week this week.
Yeah, and Gabe Davis, you kind of target him in these matchups. It could be a shootout. We want Gabe Davis on the field. So if you have him, he's going to be a top 20 wide receiver for me. I'm fine playing Gabe Davis.
Tight end. It's the 3rd worst matchup for Evan Engram. I don't care. He's been a must start. He's my tight end 6 on the week. I am starting him regardless. It doesn't matter. Buffalo. It's the 2nd best matchup for the Bills tight ends. That one's kind of scary. I have Kincaid as 11. I don't know. Where do I have? And I have Knox at 23. So must start Engram. Probably start Kincaid. I would look to avoid Knox, but, I guess if you're in a 2 tight end league, which I actually have one of those, but that's hell. Kicker, it's a terrible matchup for Tyler Bass, but it doesn't matter. You're starting him anyways. On the other side of the ball, we have Brandon McManus. It is also a terrible matchup, but I think I'm going to leave him on the bench. DSTs, Jags, it's a bad matchup. I want nothing to do with the Jags DST against the Bills. The Bills are they get the 10th best matchup in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is only allowing 9.3, or they are allowing 9.3 points per game to opposing DSTs, which is a lot when you compare that to Dallas, who gives up 0.5 to opposing DSTs. So let's see where I've got Buffalo ranked. I have Buffalo as my DST 5 on the week. What do you think of that little group there?
Yeah, the Jags offense has struggled, but they're a very good offense in general. So matchups like this do worry me, even with the better defenses like Buffalo. It does feel a little treacherous. And getting back to the tight ends, I have Kincaid above Waller, not in my rankings, but I'm starting him over Waller if I had the choice between the two. Just because he's finally he's jumping in that role where he's seeing more snaps and playing a bigger role in the offense. So if that sticks, I'm just gonna roll with him over Waller this season. And to answer your question, no, I didn't, but I'm about to go real quick. So
that's fine. I'll get through. I'll start this game. All right, I'm going to continue here by myself for a couple minutes. We've got our next game is Jets at Broncos. Good God. Broncos by 2.5. This is another game where I am starting all players on both sides like we did last week with Bears and Broncos. And if the players don't get right this week, they're in a big world of trouble here. Let me look at my rankings. So for QBs, we've got Zach Wilson, who gets the best matchup for fantasy quarterbacks. And then we have Russell Wilson, who gets the 21st best matchup, so not a great one. My rankings have it as Russ at 18, Zach Wilson at 21. But honestly, if I had to choose, I would be starting Zach Wilson here. I've started Zach Wilson, I think, over a lot of options this week, and I'll probably be moving him significantly higher. I don't like that he's at 21. He looked good for the first time I've ever seen last week. And I thought he was, actually maybe turning the corner here. This is going to be another potential get-right spot here. If Garrett Wilson has any NFL QB level ability in him, this week is the week we are going to see it. Hopefully there's the blow-up game coming on this one. Moving on to running back, sorry. It's the best matchup in fantasy for Breece Hall and the Jets, and it is the 10th best matchup for Javonte in the Broncos running backs. Breece, I have still only at 18 because of the injury concerns and the workload, and this whole team's kind of a mess. And Javonte, I have even lower. Just a sec. Where the hell do I have Javonte? Javonte. Maybe I don't have Javonte listed. Give me a second here. I think I have Javonte still unlisted. No, I don't. I have him way down in the 60s. That's why. So my projections are still based on the assumption that he might not be ready to go. So to summarize in this one, I think Breece is probably an RB2. He's really risky. He needs to start turning it around here and, make this his breakout game in this season. Javonte, if he plays, I want as maybe an RB2 or a flex. If Javonte doesn't play, I'm comfortable with Jaleel McLaughlin as my RB2. What do you think of the running backs here? Breece Hall has the best matchup in fantasy, and it's a top 10 matchup for whoever plays at the Broncos. I currently have Javonte lower than McLaughlin because I don't have Javonte listed. Last I did my rankings, I was under the assumption Javonte was going to be out. What do you think?
Yeah, I was surprised he practiced yesterday. So apparently that injury is not that bad. So we'll see. If he plays, it's going to be interesting. But I really don't want to trust him in this matchup. But yeah, I'm starting Breece everywhere. He's finally getting unleashed. This matchup's great. This is the time we roll with Breece Hall. So yeah, he's an RB1 for me. You're talking about McLaughlin. I would play him if he's starting. If you got to play Javonte, I feel like you're kind of desperate because he's pushing into that RB3 range for me this week. I just don't trust the offense in general.
All right, at wide receiver, third worst matchup for the Broncos and the sixth best for the Jets. So I am starting Garrett Wilson regardless. I think Zach Wilson has looked better, and I think they might be in my DFS article that hasn't come out yet. They might be my favorite budget stack of the week. So Wilson, I'm fine firing up. I want nothing to do with any other wide receiver on the Jets. The Broncos, it's not a great matchup, but I'm probably still comfortable starting Sutton. I'm going to look at my rankings here. I've got Garrett Wilson as wide receiver 21, and that's the highest in the game. Aside from that, I've got Judy and Sutton back-to-back at 33, 34, and then I'm sure I have Mims. Mims at 43, so I think for me, Judy, Sutton are more like a low-end 2, high-end 3, probably a high-end 3, and Mims is just a like a flex or a streaming option. And Wilson, for me, I have him ranked at 21, but I think I'm going to move that up a bit at some point. I think he's more like a mid to high-end RB wide receiver 2. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, I wish he wasn't getting Surtain in this matchup because Surtain's one of the bright spots in this Denver defense, so he's a good corner. So I think that's going to limit him a little bit, but he's such a good wide receiver. Like, we finally saw Zach Wilson able to support him, so you're just going to roll with him because he's going to get peppered with like 15 targets again. So you play him. He's like, I'm pushing him up. My rankings have him like wide receiver 25, but I'm going to be more higher on him. And the Denver offense, it's just kind of a bag of mystery, right? Like, you go Judy. If you want, he's going to be the top guy of them. But yeah, it's kind of just a lot of blah, honestly. It's like wide receiver 35 for him. Sutton's 40. And then, yeah, we get to Mims. And I'm really not going to play Mims until I see more snaps from him, which I don't know when that's going to happen.
Did you know Sam Howell is on pace to be sacked 99 times this year?
Yeah, it's absurd. Awesome. His sack rate's through the roof. So,
football talk. I'd like to know what Daniel Jones is on pace for. He might be sacked 99 times this month. Anyways, at tight end, it is, I forgot what game we were doing. Okay, Jets Broncos. Sorry, I got sidetracked. It's the fifth best matchup for Conklin, who I have ranked as a mid to low end tight end too, but I actually like him significantly more than that. He's not a terrible option. The Broncos, it is, once again, a great matchup for the Broncos tight ends. And once again, I don't give a shit because I'm pretty sure since Greg Dulcich has been out, I don't think Adam Troutman's recorded a fucking point. So start Conklin, stream Conklin if you need to. Sit Troutman no matter what. Throw him back in the river with the rest of the Trouts. Kicker, it's the second best matchup for Lutz. Play him if you got to. He hasn't been good. I am not really all that into starting him this week. For the Jets, it's the bottom of the barrel. Not quite the worst matchup for Zerline, but so sit both kickers. Mm-hmm. The DSTs, the Jets, apparently this is a low-scoring or a bad matchup for them. I still probably don't mind streaming them. I don't love it. The Broncos, it's the 11th best matchup, but honestly, I think I could stream either of these defenses, but I would prefer to avoid both. I have the Jets at 12 exactly and the Broncos at 13. So that backs up what I was thinking. You can stream either if you have to, but I would probably, hopefully have something better. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. They're back to back, so I don't really want to play either one of them, but I'm fine if you need to, just because, the defenses have some talent. I do worry about the Broncos defense. Like, what they've been giving up, like, I just don't have confidence in them anymore. I thought they'd be good going into the year, but they've been terrible. So I'm kind of changing how I view the Broncos defense for the rest of the season. Like, it's just basically one I don't want to play, honestly.
So you're telling me we should be worried about a defense that made the Bears look good?
Yeah. Amazing how that works, right?
No. I did it again. I clicked on the graphic below. Every single time I click on this one, and I don't know why. I don't know why I can't do this. I don't know what my problem is and why my brain doesn't work. But next up, we've got Saints at Patriots. I find these two teams are almost carbon copies of one another. Pats by 1.5. Let's get to the mess that we call quarterback at this one. It is the fifth worst matchup for Derek Carr, and it's a middle-of-the-pack matchup for Mac Jones. I'm going to look at my rankings, and I bet they're both low 20s somewhere. Mac Jones is 24. Derek Carr is 26 in that group with Ryan Tannehill. That tells you all you need right there. They're probably desperation in a QB2 spot in a Superflex league. if you are in a single QB league and are considering them this week, please quit. Please turn this podcast off and delete your team. That's all I have to say. Do you have anything further to add about those quarterbacks?
It's been so gross. Like, we thought Derek Carr would be decent. He's had one game in double-digit points in fantasy. So that should tell you all you need to know about Derek Carr. And Mac Jones, he's Mac Jones. He's been so much better than Carr, but he put up 6 points last week. So, yeah. I want nothing to do with either one of these quarterbacks.
Way to set the bar high on the so much better than Carr.
It's lovely.
Running backs, it's the 13th best matchup for Alvin Kamara. It is a bottom 7 matchup for Mondre Stevenson, who has proven that the mantra of avoid fucking Bill Belichick Patriot running backs has held true, because look at the mess they've created. I have Kamara at 15, so he is probably a high-end 2. I think I see him more as a low-end 1. The rankings just haven't updated high enough for me. And on the other side of the ball, I'm still scrolling. I have Ramondre as 23, so a guy who at one point was going as like the RB 7 or 8 is now ranked this week with 4 teams on bye as my RB 23, below Dameon Pierce, who pretty much everyone hates. So what do you think about these guys?
Yeah, so with the injury for Carr, he's just going to pepper Kamara. And, like, that's why he saw 14 targets last week. So if Kamara's getting that usage, like, he's a RB1. Like, I get it, there was no yards last week, but that's just an absurd target share.
Yeah, it was what, 13 for 39 or something?
Yeah, just insane way to score
fucking points. Impressive.
It's just incredible.
I couldn't do that in the games where I'm trying to milk the clock in Madden, and I catch the ball and I immediately fall on the ground. I still don't get 13 for 39. How is that possible?
It's so good. I was just like, what? How is this possible? I like tweeted it out. I was like, there's no fucking way this is a real stat. They're like, yeah, this is what's happening.
Like, was one of them like a loss of 15 yards or something? Like, wouldn't catching the ball and falling get you a couple of yards? I don't get it.
It's so weird. It just makes no sense. But I mean, this was what sucks for when we get into the wide receivers like Olave and those guys, because Carr's injury really hurts Olave because he plays downfield. So that's like, I am lower on him until he gets healthy, because if it's low ADOT, like, it changes how they play, and that changes how he's going to play, so that does worry me for him.
To transition into those receivers, it's 13th best matchup for the Pats, 15th for the Saints. I don't think there's any high-end options. Olave is my highest. I've downgraded him all the way to 18, which still sounds pretty high, but, you know, I think at one point he was a borderline wide receiver 1 for me, so he's 18. He's my highest in this game. Then we're going to keep scrolling. I got Michael Thomas at 37. Scrolling. Shaheed at 50. So I have 3 Saints receivers before my first Patriot receiver. 3 Saints in the top 50. My first Patriot is Kendrick Bourne at 52. Devontae Parker at 62. And Demario Douglas at 80. So we've got some 2-3 flex options on the Saints, and basically some dart throw injury replacements on the Patriots if you're really stuck. Like, I'm sure I'm starting Devontae Parker in one league somewhere, but, like, you got to be pretty stuck to start a Patriots receiver, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The one Patriots receiver who I'm interested in is Demario Douglas, a.k.a. Pop Douglas. He's been, like, the best on, like, the targets per route run and his yards for all that stuff, and he's like that one guy that's basically the undrafted wide receiver the Patriots always find. They bring him into this role, a.k.a. like replacing Jacoby Myers, stuff like that, just because Juju looks washed. I don't know. He's broken. So, yeah, I'll target him and stash him of all these wide receivers, but I just don't want to play any of those guys. And I'm knocking down all of the wide receivers on the Saints side. So I like them just because they're good talents, but they're all dropping down the rankings this week.
If you thought the hit the receivers took was bad, wait till you see the tight ends. So the Patriots are the 3rd worst matchup for tight, or get the 3rd worst matchup, and the Saints get the 4th worst. These 2 teams shut down tight ends like almost no other team. Who do you think my highest ranked tight end is in this game?
Is it Henry?
Nope.
Oh, don't tell me it's Gesicki.
Nope.
No, it's Jimmy Graham.
Nope.
Don't say it's Taysom Hill then.
It's Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
It's Taysom Hill. Because, it's Taysom Hill. And that's, so I've got Taysom Hill at 21. And then right after him, I've got Henry at 22. I've got Juwan Johnson at 26. I don't even know where Gesicki is. Not ranked somewhere.
Yeah. Henry's my highest ranked one, but I don't feel good about any of these guys. It's like,
Gesicki's at 29. This is ugly, man. This shit's
it's
ugly.
bad. It's bad.
So don't start any of them. Moving on to kicker. We've got Blake Group, 7th best matchup. He's been terrible. I know I'm a Saints fan. Don't play him. He sucks. On the Pat side of the ball, where the hell is it? I just seen it. Oh, we got Chad Ryland, 3rd best matchup. He's been okay. I guess I don't think I have. I'm gonna look here. I don't think I have either even inside my top 15. I've got Group at 20. Where the hell's he? And Ryland at 24. So they're both sits. The DSTs are both solid starts for me. 4th best matchup for the Saints. 12th best matchup for the Patriots. I have them in my rankings as Saints are DST 8. Pats are DST 10. They are both solid starts this weekend. Sit the kickers, sit the tight ends. Any thoughts here, Jesse?
Right there with you. I didn't even know the Saints kicker's name, to tell you the truth. When you said his name, I was like, I don't even know who that guy is. So that should tell you how I'm feeling about these kickers. And yeah, the defense, you could play them if you want to. They're pretty solid this week.
I'm a Saints fan, and I had to look it up like 3 weeks ago because I thought it was still Will Lutz until I did a preview. Mm-hmm. I'd seen that he was on the Broncos, and I was like, when the fuck did that happen? Will Lutz wasn't bad. All right, let's get into our next one here. Another barn burner. We've got the right graphic this time. We have the Ravens by 3.5 at the Steelers. We'll start with the quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky. I think I have it as Mitch Trubisky right now. It's the 3rd worst matchup. I'm not playing either Steelers quarterback because I'm not stupid. It's the 13th best matchup for Lamar, so it's middle of the pack matchup. I've got Lamar as QB4. Excuse me. And right now, my highest ranked Steeler, actually, I have them back to back. Trubisky 28, Pickett 29. So must start Lamar, must bench the others, even in Superflex. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess Pickett practiced full practice yesterday, so it looks like he's going to play. So we'll see. But yeah, you're not starting him. That'd just be bonkers. And Lamar.
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, Lamar's been a little disappointed this year, but he's still been fantastic. So you're rolling with Lamar each and every week.
He's still not Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, exactly. The gulf between them is a chasm.
Yeah. So at running back, we've got top 6 matchup for the Ravens, 20th best matchup for the Steelers, so not particularly enticing. Having said that, I would be willing to bet when I scroll through my rankings here that Najee is the highest ranked of this group. It's not, surprising me. I have Gus at 26. I have Najee at 28. I have Jaylen Warren at 30. And have I really... Oh, Justice Hill took a bit of a downgrade because he's questionable and injured. He's at 43. I do not want to start any of these guys as anything more than really a desperation flex. Like Najee, Gus as a flex, I don't really want any of them in my lineup. You?
Yeah, the floor with particularly the Ravens running backs when they split is just awful. Like if they don't get the right game script and running, because like Gus isn't going to catch passes. So you need him to be efficient, which he always is, and they need to be winning for them to keep feeding him. So like that's the game script you need, and it might not happen just because Baltimore's been struggling. On the flip side, yeah, Najee's just splitting work here with Warren, but he's going to be that guy you want to start over Warren. It's just I don't feel good about either one of those guys, honestly.
All right, receivers. We've got the 3rd best matchup for the Baltimore receivers, middle of the pack matchup for the Steelers. I think it's going to be my highest ranked is Zay Flowers. He's 24, 25 here. So he's a low end 2, high end 3. Right after him is Pickens at 26. So I'm comfortable starting both of them as a wide receiver 2, 3. I'm not starting anyone else in this. I don't want any part of Allen Robinson. I don't know if Bateman or OBJ are even healthy and playing in this game. So I've got 2 as a low end 2, 3 option, and I'm sitting everyone else.
I'm right there with you. It's those 2. Like, there's nobody else I would even consider starting. Like, I think the next highest ranked guy might be Calvin Austin from the Steelers. Like that might be just how my rankings are to show you just how I want no other wide receiver in this matchup. So I'm
going to scroll through because I'm curious. I think you might be right that it's probably Calvin Austin. So it was George Pickens at 26. I'm down to 60, and I'm still screwed. It's Calvin Austin at 66. So 40 lower. Good call. It's Calvin Austin at 66.
It's gross, man. And the only thing, like, if you have him in best ball, cool, that's great because he might hit a 70-yard touchdown like he did. But yeah, no thank you to the rest of these guys.
It's the second worst matchup for Steelers tight ends. It doesn't matter because Freiermuth is out, and you are not starting an offensive lineman at your tight end. So sit Darnell Washington. It is the fifth worst matchup for the Baltimore Ravens and Mark Andrews. I don't care. He's still my tight end 3. You are playing him. Kicker, Justin Tucker, 10th best matchup. You're playing him regardless. It's Tucker. He's been shit this year. He's had like games of 2 field goals, 1 field goal, and then 2 with no field goals attempted. So he's been shit, but you got to keep riding him because it's Justin Tucker. And if you have him, you probably drafted first kicker. Chris Boswell, 5th best matchup. If you got him, play him. If you don't, stream him. DSTs. This is another Ravens-Steelers game, so it's the 13th best matchup for the Ravens. It's the 16th best matchup for the Steelers. Neither are must starts, but I think I'm starting both. Going to bring my DST rankings up here. I think they're both probably inside my top 12. They are not. Oh, they're not. Where are the Ravens? Do I have them that low? Oh, no. I'm scrolling. I'm like, why can I not find the Ravens? Because I wasn't high enough up. The Ravens are my DST 1 on the week, so that's good. I'm going to change that. The Dolphins are going to be my DST 1, and I'll probably also bump the Bills. So Ravens are going to be a top 3 to 5 option by the time I update everything. Steelers are middle of the pack at 14, so you could play both. And it looks like it's a must play for the Ravens. What are your thoughts here? Yeah, especially if Trubisky plays. Maybe that's why I have him so high. I have Trubisky projected as the starter, and that'll be
I want the Ravens defense against whichever quarterback's playing. Like, it's a must-start defense. And Pittsburgh, just no, I'm not doing it. I get it. They have TJ Watt, but that defense just
my rankings make sense. When you factor in the other side of the ball that Mitch Trubisky is the starting quarterback, the DST he faces is automatically the number 1. Makes sense all of a sudden. I was like, why do I have the Ravens so – oh, Mitch Trubisky. That's why. We're good. So, to cap it off here with our final game of the day, the Monday night whatever we're calling this football game, the Packers by 1.5 over the Raiders. I just had a trade go down, actually. My cousin advised me on it. He's in my league and he's new to Dynasty, so he kind of asked my input, which is kind of shitty because the player he traded for, I wanted to go trade for, but so he's tearing it down and completely rebuilding. He took over an orphan that really sucked. The guy got old, missed out, was a middle of the pack team and just bailed. So he got Jordan Love and Kenneth Gainwell. He gave up Aaron Jones, Tyler Algier, and a 2nd-round pick. Which side would you prefer?
Where's that? Is that second going to be early or is it going to be late?
Early to mid, but super flex as well. So
yeah,
you gotta think just in super flex, even if you're not high on Jordan Love, for a rebuilding team, does the young quarterback not have more value than Aaron Jones, Tyler Algier in the second?
Yeah, I don't care about Algier. It's just Aaron Jones in the second. So, like, if you're setting them to a contending team, that makes sense for them. And then the rebuilding
he
side,
is. It's a guy who. That's exactly. It's a rebuild to a contender. Is exactly what
makes perfect sense. Yeah, that just makes perfect sense. Yep.
He told me that. And I originally told him counter without the 2nd rounder, and then I kind of looked and I said, you know what? It's a fucking young quarterback. You don't have a quarterback. I said, fuck it, just hit accept. I like Gainwell doesn't matter. Algier doesn't matter. It's basically a super flex league. You're going Love for Aaron Jones, who's old and injured, and a 2nd-round pick. But he has 3 first-rounders already. So
smash.
Okay, so quarterbacks here. 8th best matchup for Jordan Love. 19th for Jimmy G. That's lovely because Jimmy G, he's a matchup-proof quarterback. We'll get to my rankings of them. Jordan Love is QB 11 for me on the week. Jimmy G is QB 22. What do you think?
So I'm surprisingly, so when I did the rankings and stuff, like I had Jordan Love top 10 and I was like, what the heck is happening? So yeah, it just shows you how the Raiders defense is. Like you're playing Jordan Love. I mean, you could take a streaming option for Garoppolo, but I do not have much confidence in him this week. So ideally, I'm just gonna pin away from him, to tell you the truth, because he's like wide or QB 20 for me. Yeah, he's QB 20.
Running back. 5th best matchup for the Raiders, 11th best for the Packers. Josh Jacobs, I have as my RB3. He is a must start. I know he was a must start last week. I'm going to look it up quickly. Off the top of your head, do you know? He's one of the players where I don't really have it programmed into my brain if he did anything.
He smashed last week.
Did he come? He did, okay. Because I remember saying if he doesn't smash this week, yes, he did, 28 points. So
he had a great week.
He came through. We were right. Okay, so he's my RB3. This is another smash spot. He should destroy them. My highest ranked Packer running back is Aaron Jones, RB20, a low end RB2. Keep an eye on his health. If he doesn't play, I'm not playing anyone. I have AJ Dillon at 37. I don't even like that. It's probably even lower than that. And I'd probably start Patrick Taylor over him, and I have Taylor ranked significantly lower. So must start on Jacobs. Start Aaron Jones as a 2 and avoid everyone else.
If Jones is healthy, I'm starting him. This Raiders defense is trash, so I'm targeting them with my running backs. And if Jones is healthy, the thing is, on the flip side, I want no part of Dillon because he's that bad. I don't care how good the matchup. This is kind of where you get a bad running back and you're like, oh, it's a great matchup. Like, no, like you need a good running back, which Jones is. So if Jones is playing, he's playing. I'm playing him. And Jacobs, he's like a top 3 running back. Like you're saying.
How many times do we do this before people get sick of that? Where it's like, oh, the good running back left, so now the shitty backup is the shitty starter, and he gets a great matchup. So let's fire him up as a top. Oh wait, he sucked. That's why he sucks. That's why he was a backup. It doesn't matter if he's the starter again in a good matchup. He fucking sucks. Why do we care?
It's Josh Kelly all over again, yeah.
Yes, it is. It's fucking Mike Davis. So moving on to the receivers, 11th best matchup for the Packers. It is a bad matchup, bottom 10 for the Raiders. Having said that, it doesn't matter. Devontae Adams is my wide receiver 5. He is easily the only must start here. I think every other option I have ranked in the wide receiver 3 range. I completely forgot. I got Jacoby Myers at 32. So he is a wide receiver, high end 3, I think. He's playable. I'm not starting Renfro. On the Packers side of the ball, I've got Watson at 29. I've got Dobbs at 31. And I've got Reed at 38. So there is one stud in this group. And then 3 Packers and a Raider who all fall in the 30s and are wide receiver 3 flex options. What do you think?
So the thing is, if Jimmy G misses what he's supposed to play this game, but we saw the difference for Jacoby particularly, where Aiden O'Connell was just peppering Devontae Adams because that's what you do with backup quarterbacks. They target the number 1 option. So if Garoppolo's playing, he can support multiple options, and then we're back rolling with Jacoby. So just keep that in mind for future if that misses. Same thing with those guys. I have the Packers wide receivers as low end wide receiver 2s, high end wide receiver range. Both those guys kind of back to back. It's just if Watson's fully healthy, I'm betting on that talent. And Dubs has been good. He's been good throughout the year, so I'll trust Dubs in this matchup because
what I want to know
defense sucks.
Why do these Jimmy G type quarterbacks not do what more of these backups like Aiden O'Connell do? It literally, I think Stafford has always been a decent quarterback. The only reason I think Stafford has been regarded as a much higher rated quarterback, look what he does. He doesn't get creative with it. He peppers the shit out of Megatron. Then he gets Cooper Kupp. Well, let's just throw it to fucking Cooper Kupp every time. Why do these guys get creative? I get it. Patrick Mahomes has nobody to throw to, but you see guys where it's his number 1. I'm trying to look through an option here, but it's you got, Jamar Chase, but let's not throw to him. Instead, I'm going to throw to fucking, Charlie Jones 5 times. You look at it, why does the tight end have 12 targets this week? And meanwhile, I forget what team it was. I'm drawing a blank on it now, but there was a team where their number 1 was getting no target. Oh, even if you see Washington, why is Sam Howell not throwing to fucking Terry McLaurin and he's peppering Logan Thomas, who's 100?
That's that goddamn scheme. They're scheming Logan Thomas target, which is stupid. So with a lot of backup quarterbacks, they just can't read the field. They can't make the progressions. And you'll see this with backup. So that's why they hyper target those wide receivers.
Devontae Adams, who needs the progression?
Exactly right. So it's just I'll throw to Adams 20 times. It's the DeAndre Hopkins corollary with the Tom Savage or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp didn't want a fucking Super Bowl. Yeah. How hard is Sam Howell?
Freaking cannon, so he could do whatever.
You have Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, so let's target fucking Logan Thomas. So.
It's so.
What are your thoughts here, though, on overall on this shit show? Sorry.
So I'm those 2 wide receivers I'm starting, and I will. So actually, the 4 wide receivers in this game, I'm going to play all of them as long as Garoppolo is playing. So Jacoby's a wide receiver 2, Adams a high end wide receiver 1. I can't remember the names. Watson and Dubs, Jesus, they are both wide receiver 2, 3s for me this week.
You flexing Reed?
If you're desperate, sure.
No.
So I'm a little bit lower just because he hasn't fully progressed all the way. But yeah, it's a good matchup. So if you need to, you can flex him. I'd be okay doing it. It's just I'm not
tight end. It's a top 12 matchup. 11 for the Packers, 12 for the Raiders. Musgrave, I'm really high on, but I think he's more of a hold and wait for a breakout. I only have him as my tight end 16. If you're desperate, you can play him, but he's someone I want to kind of hold on to. Both Raiders tight ends I have ranked like 36 and 39, so they're must sits there. The kickers we've got. It's a middle of the pack matchup for Carlson. He's been bad, but you probably got to keep playing him. Anders Carlson. Oh, they're both Carlson? Really? Okay. Daniel Carlson on the Raiders has been bad, but you have to keep playing them. He gets the 16th best matchup. Anders Carlson on the Packers. He gets the 17th best matchup, and you got to sit him because he sucks. So,
are these guys like related or something?
I don't fucking know. They look identical. I'm not going to lie. Like, I never realized this before that there's two until I see them back to back in the 16th and 17th. They're both kickers and they look identical.
They gotta be.
I'm
curious now.
I never even realized that. Okay, now my mind's blown. So moving on. The DST, it's the 8th best matchup for the Packers. I'm probably starting them. I'll check my rankings in a sec. 10th worst matchup for the Raiders. You aren't starting the Raiders DST.
No.
So we have the Packers as the Packers are only 13 for me. So they're, start them if you got them. They're not a must sit. They're not a must start. They're there. Raiders are 24th for me. So we're never starting the Raiders. So that's pretty much how I see that one. Your thoughts?
Absolutely agreed. So fun fact, they are brothers, the kickers. I just looked it up. So those two are brothers. Well, yeah, so makes sense, right, with their names. But yeah, with the tight end situation in Vegas, I just want no part of that. Until Mayer steps forward, it's just a disaster. And yeah, the defenses, you can play the Packers, but yeah, don't touch the Raiders. Just don't do it. You're asking for trouble if you play them.
All righty. Well, that concludes our NFL Week 5 game previews for the AFC home games. I feel like all the good games were yesterday. Today, it was just a whole bunch of shit, again, with teams nobody really wanted to talk about. So it's going to be ugly. Not off to a great start. I faced DJ Moore in a couple of leagues, and, of course, he has a breakout game against me. And I've got a lot of injuries in bye week, so I'm not going to have a great Week 5. Not going to be good. So
I feel like it's going great.
Not all that
my brother.
Might not.
My brother played
might be
Thomas, DJ Moore, and Fields in one league, and then they gave 120 points. I was like, oh, it's going well for you.
I got a feeling by about 1:30, I'm going to just say screw it. I might just go golfing because it's going to be a good week to golf during the game. So,
absolutely.
All right. Well, that concludes our AFC home game previews. Check back with us at noon on Sunday for our live sit start show as we answer all your sit start lineup questions and even some trade questions. And then we will be back Monday at noon. No, that's our recorded show. Monday at noon with our recorded show of the game recaps. Good luck in Week 5, everyone. For Aaron and Jesse, this has been the Mad Science Lab podcast. Take care and enjoy a interesting Week 5.